Hello everyone! This video will cover financial aid refunds, or what happens after you pay for your OSU bill, brought to you by the Office of Financial Aid at Oregon State University. There are two primary scenarios that can happen at the beginning of each quarter at OSU. The first, if a student's direct billed charges at OSU are greater than their financial aid applied, the student will still have remaining charges left on their student account. These will then be billed to the student to pay for either out of pocket or with other resources. The second scenario is the opposite of the first. If the billed charges are less than the financial aid applied, then that remaining amount of funds is considered excess aid and will be paid out directly to the student. This is commonly referred to as a financial aid refund. We are going to focus on this second scenario for the remainder of the video, but remember, the first scenario is very common, especially for first-year students that have on-campus room and board charges. If you are trying to predict which scenario will happen for you during any particular quarter, check out our video on mapping the gap to see how you can build estimates for your billed charges and aid. Another important thing to understand is how federal and state financial aid can be applied against billed charges on a student's account. This aid can pay towards tuition, standard enrollment and mandatory fees, and most housing and dining charges. However, it can only pay for these charges from the current school year, meaning if a student has these charges left over from a previous school year, aid generally cannot automatically be applied against those. Federal and state aid also cannot pay for any fines or penalties, parking permits, health service charges, printing fees, late fees, or interest. Because there are certain types of charges that aid cannot pay for, it is possible for you to receive a financial aid refund but still have an outstanding balance owed to the university. Always check your bill in case this happens in your situation. However, you may still use your refund to pay for these charges if you wish to. After financial aid is applied against the charges on a student's account, the university will typically begin to process any refund owed to a student within a few business days. Note that billing and refund processes are handled by the Student Account Services Office, not the Office of Financial Aid. If a student has direct deposit set up with Student Account Services, their refund will be sent directly to their personal bank account. This process will typically take another few business days before the funds are available to the student. If there is no direct deposit set up, a check will be mailed to the student's current mailing address listed in their My OSU student portal. This will usually take longer than direct deposit. The entire refund process can generally take anywhere from several business days to a week or two, depending on the timing of when everything happens. Be smart with your refund. Since for many students financial aid includes loans, think of an aid refund as borrowed money that either needs to be used for essential educational and living expenses or that needs to be repaid. Some good ideas to use your refund include purchasing textbooks and supplies, covering other necessary expenses, paying it back towards your outstanding loans, or saving it for future educational costs. If you are receiving large refunds and have federal student loans, you may want to consider reducing your future disbursements of those loans in order to minimize borrowing. To do this, fill out a loan revision request on the financial aid website and send it into our office. To give you an idea of what types of other expenses a student might have besides their OSU billed charges, we have created two separate lists. The list on the left includes charges that may appear on your OSU bill throughout the school year. Note, some charges are only for students as applicable, such as fines and printing charges. However, some charges are mandatory and will appear every term, such as tuition, as well as building, health, and incidental fees for Corvallis campus students. The list on the right has a few costs that will not be charged by OSU, but many students will still have these expenses owed to outside companies and organizations. For example, a common point that confuses many students is textbooks. The bookstore on campus is actually a third-party entity, and thus they cannot charge textbooks or other supplies to an OSU student account. This is why textbooks are considered a non-billed cost. Many students may also decide to buy or rent their textbooks from other third parties besides the on-campus bookstore. Note that other unexpected costs could arise throughout the term, so it can be a good idea to have a little funding saved to help meet those expenses. The OSU Cashier's Office also has small emergency loans of up to $350 for students who need them. Thank you for joining us for this video on how refunds and outside expenses work. We hope this content has been helpful for you. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us by phone at 541-737-2241 or by email at financial.aid@oregonstate.edu. If you have specific questions about billing or the refund process itself, please contact the Student Account Services Office at 541-737-3775 or studentaccountservices@oregonstate.edu.